What's going on, everybody? It's ShamefulPenguin. Here are 5 builds for Path of Exile 3.9 Conquerors of the Atlas. The builds I showcase today aren't in full depth. These are just ideas for you if you have no idea what build you're going to do, kinda like me. If you like any of these builds in my video, go down into the description and you can check out a more in-depth guide. Anyways, let's get into the builds right now. The first build showcased is the Ark Elementalist build. Ark is a simple and rewarding skill to use in Path of Exile because it chains so many enemies. This leads to great clearing speeds and excellent damage against bosses as well. Ark did receive a buff this league, which extends its chain from 25 to now 35 units, which is a great buff for the skill because Ark is a great skill for clearing and it will clear that much faster now. Ark feels like the generic lightning mage skill for most games, and if you're a beginner or have never used Ark as your primary skill, I recommend using it because it's very fun and you can make it very fast or you can make it do lots of damage. The gameplay you see is from a Ark build that's using Dorianis and a shield, but it looks like the popular build is using staff right now. As for Enki's build guide, I highly suggest following Enki's build guide for this league because he makes the strongest Ark builds, which are also super easy to follow for all skill levels. The second build showcased today is the Stormbrand Inquisitor by Thien. Stormbrand, in my opinion, is one of the easiest skills to level with, and also one of the easiest skills to do early maps with because of its simple nature of setting a few brands down and running around trying not to take any damage. Stormbrands, like totems, allow you to avoid a lot of incoming damage and also allow you to be a lot safer. So I recommend using brands and totems generally for people in hardcore or for starting out hardcore. Yeah, anyways, Stormbrand, awesome build to clear any content in the game. The third build today is the Tornado Shot Deadeye build. I promoted this build before on the forums and in another video, so I recommend checking out my other video if you are interested in this build. Yes, I know, shameless promotions, but I am the ShamefulPenguin, so I don't think it applies to me anyways. This build is the best build for clearing, in my opinion. And since bows will have a lot of different tools to use in this league, like the extra ballisticas and other support gems that might be more viable, I think Tornado Shot will be even stronger. Some of you will be saying, no, it's actually been nerfed. Projectiles don't go on forever. They fade over time, kind of like freezing pulse. While that's true, you can just add some projectile speed to take care of that, and I believe there won't be much of a difference. For those of you unfamiliar with the infamous Tornado Shot, it is the skill that you shoot and you pick a spot and it forks out little projectiles out of the place you choose, with each of the smaller projectiles adding additional damage and the ability being able to hit a single enemy multiple times. Tornado Shot has been one of the most popular builds in Path of Exile for the past few leagues. This build has many positives like insane clearing speed, really fast gameplay and really fun gameplay, and really cool animations. But with all the positives also come a few negatives, whereas if you do the build I do, the bossing experience isn't as fun as most builds. And also the experience for leveling is slightly more difficult than most builds because bows have a more difficult time doing more consistent damage. A lot of the time bow builds are reliant on the gear you have, therefore the builds can fall off sometimes if you don't have the greatest gear. Through all of that, Tornado Shot is still one of my favorite builds to do, even as a league starter, and if you guys are interested in doing the build, check out my build guide. It's linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy the build. Molten Strike is a melee attack when your character is in melee range and attacks the enemy, and little molten balls flare out of him, dealing splash damage at their feet. Molten Strike can be a fast clearing move and an excellent boss killer depending on how you build this. The gameplay you're seeing is a different version of Molten Strike than the normal version because it is also a Flicker Strike build where I hot swap between the skills, but I just wanted to show you guys how Molten Strike gameplay looks like. Generally, if this was a Molten Strike only build, there would be much more attack speed. Molten Strike, like many other melee builds, are also going to be buffed by the new Awaken skills, specifically Awaken Ancestral Call and Awaken Multi-Strike. Awaken Multi-Strike looks very strong, so the damage cap for this build looks to be improved. But overall, it is a great skill to level with early game, and if you struggle with the leveling process and having low currency, this build will still clear the full game. Lastly, the fifth build in this video is Arc Trap and kind of Lightning Trap as well. I didn't want to choose one of them. I really like both Arc Trap and Lightning Trap, and I recommend either one depending on visually which one you like more. Arc Trap and Lightning Trap can do insane damage and have excellent clear speed as well. Traps allow you to place the skill before the enemy spawns, so when you're clearing strong boxes or you're clearing bosses, it allows you to do that extra bit of DPS where self-casting would fall behind a little bit. Trap is a playstyle not for everyone, so I recommend watching different videos on it and seeing the build and seeing if you like the trap variant. Traps, like totems and brands, allow you to stay very safe when clearing the maps and doing bosses because you can throw them and run away for a while. So traps are hardcore viable, as well as totems and brands, in my opinion. Anything can be hardcore viable, but I die a lot, so I usually stick to one of those three if I'm doing hardcore. I know, I didn't talk much about the builds. This video was mostly just to give you an idea of what to use, and I wanted to display builds I've done in the past that I've also done in league starts and had great success with. I know I said only 5 builds, but I also wanted to include some extra builds because 5 is a small number. First, I wanted to include Caustic Arrow because it did get a good buff, although the length of text isn't long. I believe that Caustic Arrow, the range buff it received, will significantly help leveling and overall quality of life for Caustic Arrow. Although I've never done a Caustic Arrow build, I have seen many Caustic Arrow builds and I sort of know how they function. It's a very weird type of build because it's based off chaos damage, so scaling isn't based off your items or your passive tree as often as other skills are. What you're mostly looking for is chaos damage and damage over time for these type of builds. Lastly, I wanted to include Ballisticas in my League Start build. They are trying to change bow skills and Ballisticas the most in this league, and I believe that including them was a little bit mandatory because of the changes. Since it's a new skill, or an updated skill, it will be looked at a lot by a lot of different people, so it has a chance to be good. If this is something that interests you in trying brand new skills or testing if new types of builds will work or not work, I recommend trying out the Ballisticas this league. Side note, keep a lookout for the new Awakened support gems in general. Most of them look like they're a great improvement for pretty much any build. So if you manage to get one, lucky you, first of all. But also check if it's in the build you're using and try to make it work, because it might really help your DPS. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. I will be playing a lot in this new league, so if you guys have any questions or anything, don't be shy. Post a comment down below or hit me up on Twitch if I'm streaming. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!